Hi everyone, I'm Michelle Pethley, owner of Shelley's Wreaths and More, and today I'm going to use the Trendy Tree seasonal supply box for July. Now this is the first box seasonal supply box that Trendy Tree has put out. They used to have wreath supply boxes, and they've now replaced those boxes with this seasonal supply box. So what you get is just a group of supplies that apply to the current season. Now this is the July box, and this comes obviously prepared for Christmas, the holidays. And what you get in this box, I'm going to just do a quick rundown. You get this sign. It's a wood sign, MDF sign. It says fresh cut mistletoe, 25 cents. All right. And then you get these great ribbons. This is a 4-inch velvet ribbon, and this is a 2.5-inch green and white plaid, and 2.5-inch holly, and they call this the beige winter foliage ribbon. Okay, but you can see that it has the holly on it, and then also what you get two of each of these sprays. You get this glittered spray. Okay, it has many cuts on it if you want to cut it apart and use it in a project, or you can use it whole, which is what I'm going to do today. You also get two of these greenery bushes or greenery stems. All right, two of these beautiful berry stems. All right. And then finally, two of these sprays that have a pine in it. It has leaves as well as berries. And we are going to use, I think, pretty much of this. Now, this box is meant to inspire you. It's not a complete kit in any sense. You have to supply, as you can see, we don't have a base, or so you have to use some of your own supplies. But like I said, the box is mostly designed to inspire you to make something. I do want to comment, I'm in a new space. I'm not in a jail cell, I promise you. I'm just in the lower level of my daughter's house. So she has graciously offered me a space to store some of my supplies while my studio is being built. Okay, so let's get started. Now, what this kit has done, when I look at it, I want to make something other than a wreath. But, so I thought what I'd do, I was thinking either one of two things. A candlestick arrangement. Those are extremely popular right now. Or I was thinking later, or more to the point, how about a table centerpiece? Okay, and what this is from my own stash. This is called a 30-inch balsam spray. All right. Or balsam swag, actually. I don't recall where I got it. I apologize for that. But I know that the maker is Allstate. So anybody who carries Allstate supplies can probably find this. This is 30 inches. And what we're going to do today is, the idea I had is I would like to take and mix this glittered spray in on both ends. This is kind of the idea that's formulating in my head right now. All right. And then on top of that, and mixed in, I'd like to take in this spray. And most of this work we can do without breaking down these pieces. But then if we layer this spray on top of this, and you can see that it's growing quite a bit. Now, what we need in this, something in the center. I had two thoughts in mind. I had from my own stash, I have this ginormous poinsettia. Isn't this gorgeous? And I was thinking this could be in the center. Let's see if I can show you. This can be in the center with a bow that drapes down through the branches. All right, that's one idea I had. The other idea I had was, I have these two gorgeous felt boxes. One small and one large. What I thought we could do is kind of tilt them and then build off of that. So you can see those are two different options. And if I am going to use the boxes, I have to do a little work in the middle of the wreath, or I'm sorry, the spray. So let me get started. I do think I am going to stick with the boxes, although this idea, the poinsettia, is very intriguing. Maybe I can do that with at another time. Okay, so let's get started. Now, like I said, when I do something in the middle that requires, put all these supplies off to the side, as well as the ribbon. We'll get to those when we get to the ribbon. All right. I've opened up this base, opened it all up to give it in. Now, what I'm going to do is, like I said, I'm going to build from the middle with the two sets of sprays. All right. And however, the boxes, in my opinion, need something to sit on or to be stuck into. So I'm going to put a little piece of styrofoam right in the middle. All right. I'm going to glue it in, as well as use zip ties so that it won't go anywhere. All right. And then I can then stick my boxes in there, glue them in on the angles that I'm trying to maintain. All right. And then build from there. Now, that means I can either cut these down and stick them into the box, all right, or I can build this part first and then put the box over the stems, which I think I might do. I might do the first, where I'm just going to cut these stems with a stem cutter here and then stick them into the side of the box. So now that I have my plan, let's start implementing it. When I put in styrofoam into one of these, you'll see on the back that it has a spine, which is good, because if I pulled a zip tie tight around this type of foam, the zip tie would cut right through that foam. So it needs something, basically, to stop the zip tie from going into the foam. We want it to hold, but we don't want it to cut through it. Okay, so what I'm going to do then on top of it, I'm going to put one other. This is just the stem from another flower, spray of flowers that I keep. You can see them all in my background over there. Those are all my little stems. I use them for a lot of different things. But I'm going to put it on top here, then zip tie around it. So this wire, this stem up here, and the spine of this swag will keep the zip tie from pulling and going through this styrofoam. Okay, so let's start by just adding a little bit of glue. I have a hot glue pot over here, and it really is just an electric skillet that I melt glue sticks in. I use Gorilla Glue, AdTech glue sometimes. I get AdTech from, okay, I'm going to just stick this in. I get the AdTech glue from Amazon. Okay, it's a commercial glue, and I've had no problems with it. Now, I'm going to stick that on. I'm going to get my two zip ties. You'll hear some rummaging here. Should have pulled out my zip ties ahead of time. But I have two fairly long zip ties. All right, I'm just going to go underneath and come up through. All right, and before I zip it tightly, I'm just going to push it there for now. Do the same thing with the second one. Okay. And before I pull them tight, I'm going to stick this in. And again, it's just so that, now you'll see that it'll kind of cut into this, but it won't cut all the way through because of this. And this is just truly an extra precaution. Can you see it kind of cuts in here? And I'm only doing this as an extra precaution. That glue should hold it, but I sell on Etsy, my arrangements on Etsy and at craft shows, and the last thing I want is for it to fall apart. So I take a little extra precaution, and there we have it. Okay, now the first thing I'm going to do is set the perimeter of my arrangement. All right, I'm going to have to cut this down pretty low, and I don't have the strength for that with a cutter, so I'm going to use my stem cutter, which is on the floor. You'll just maybe see my head as I bend over, but I'm just going to use my stem cutter and cut the stems off of both of these bushes, or these sprays. You can see that came right off. And I just want to make it roughly the same. Just so that they're not too far off when I make the arrangement. They can't be exact, but it's not going to matter. Okay, so there we have it. I've cut both stems. These stems are too thick to use in other things, so I'm just throwing those away. All right, now let's take off these. These supplies from Trendy are wonderful. They really have a lot of detail to them with this pine. Okay, and now all I'm doing is just spreading out. Let's see if you can see this. Just spreading out the pieces on it. Kind of bringing the pine to the back. All right, spreading it around. So you can see all of this. Okay, now I have leaves going off in this direction. I'll pull them over this way, and then I'll keep these leaves up this way. Let's spread them out. Okay. Not sure if I'm going to leave the pine cones. Sometimes the pine cones get in the way of things, and it's easier to add them at the end than try to work around them. So I just pull them out, and then I'll keep them on the side, and as I finish up my design, I'll stick them in there. Now you see a lot of these berries have a few dings in them. You can do one of two things. You can cut off that berry from the stand, or what I like to do is I have a red felt tip marker that I just kind of fill in those berries, which I can't find it quickly enough, so I'll have to do it after I make the arrangement. I'll just make it a point to go through before I take photographs of it. Okay, so that's fairly spread out. Now, I wanted to add this spray with it, okay? And by layering them and then pulling through, you'll see these have many. These are the cuts that I was talking about. Each one of these can be cut off. Speaking of cutting off, let's get rid of this first. Okay. So let's open up this spray to its fullest potential. These are kind of like lacy pieces, and I'm sure in the glittering process they kind of got stuck to each other, but they pull apart. You pull them, take patience and pull them apart, they'll be fine. I say that, but I'm ready to just cut. There it is. We just got to be friends and wanted to stick together. There they go. Okay, so just open these up. Now you can cut this all apart and then just glue them in separately, but I'm kind of the opinion, let's just get it done now. You can see how this comes through. Excuse me. Okay. Kind of bring some of the glitter to the front. Okay, so that will be the start of our spray. Now I'm going to just take off these two lower ones, okay? And the reason for that is when I push this into the side of the box, if I didn't take those off, they'd be up here, and then the sides over here and then this side would have no glitter. So I'm just taking them off for the moment, and then I'll re-add them into the side directly when I get to that point. Okay? Let's do the same with this other one. I keep these tags on the side so I know how to price my design when I'm done. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing on this one. We're just going to cut off these two, the lowest stems, save them to add later, and then just spread these three, the remaining three, spread them apart. All right. Okay. And the last thing that we have to do is spread apart our second spray. I'm going to remove these pine cones again. And save it for later. Just open this up until it's full extent. Get the leaves in the back, berries in the front, as best we can. All right. Now I'm just testing out real quick. I want to just make sure. Okay, so I can cut this at about this point. There we go. I'm going to put let's get the same length on them. About that. Kind of cut it at an angle. It'll go into your styrofoam a little bit easier. There we go. Get rid of our stems. And put the stem in first. I'm going to dip it in my glue pot, just get a little bit of glue on it. And then stick it right in the middle of the side, kind of close to the bottom. Okay. And there we go. Now, let's take the larger stem, do the same thing, dip it in the glue pot. Okay, now this one has paper. It's just peeling off. I'm just rolling it backwards. Okay, I'm going to put this one right above that one in the side. And because we pre-measured everything, we know that the glittered is still going to have the longest length. And then we're just going to spread these out a little bit. Okay, and bring that glitter to the front a little. And bring them through. Okay. Let's do the other on this side. The same thing. I'm going to glue this glitter stem in first, close to the bottom of the foam. Okay. Make sure the glitter pieces are all out. And then add this one in. And this is pretty much the biggest structure. We're putting in the biggest structure right now for this arrangement. And yes, I just put my finger in that glue, but thank goodness it wasn't too bad. I used to be a caterer, so unfortunately burns are not all that new to me. However, they still surprises you when the glue gets you, that's for sure. Okay, so this stem just needs to be bent down just a little. Give it a little curve down. There we go. There we go. Let's get these berries on top. Make sure we can see the glitter through all the pine and all that. Okay, so that's the major part of it. Now let's get our boxes in. Let's get our little gift boxes in, because then from there, after we get them in, we can fill in with this greenery, and I have some other greenery that has kind of a frosted look to it that I thought I'd add to this to give it the Christmas feeling. It's not heavily flocked, and it'll mix, I think, really well with all that we have going forward here. Okay, so these boxes, taking the price tag off. Alrighty. Now I'd like this box kind of be on an angle this way, and this box tilted kind of on an angle that way. Okay, so kind of the point of this box going down along the ribbon that way. So that's how I would like to get it, slightly askew like that. So let's work on that. By first putting this big box in, the big present, kind of marking on the foam where it's hitting. I'm going to hit right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, just puncture a hole in this. This is a styrofoam box. This is a stem, okay, that I've cut from my stem. I'm going to put that in and then use it to stick into the foam. First part is just putting it into the box like this. There we go. And letting it cool for a little bit. And then let's do the same for this box. We know that we want it kind of like this. So this box is kind of going to hit here. Let's see if we can get it through the ribbon. Puncture a hole through the ribbon. Okay, good. And I have another stem that I've cut down. Dipping it in the glue pot. And just putting it in. Okay. Alrighty. So let's put these in. We'll put them in on an angle. I'm going to dip that into the glue. Just the stem part. I'm going to put it on the just going to pull these berries off to the side so this box can go down a little bit further. The gift can go into the arrangement a little bit more. Okay. Okay. Do the same with this box. Dip it into the glue. And then push it in. Okay, pull off our glue stem. Okay, now if I had an overhead camera, you would see that this larger box, while it's in the middle, still is leaning this way, and the smaller box is leaning that way, which is exactly what I'd like to do. Because I don't want them standing straight up like little buildings, and I don't want them straight in the middle. I'd like this to come out, you know, like flow to both sides, shall we say. Now, this also gives us 2 areas for a bow. Here's an area here, and it'll be the same area on the other side if I turn this around. So, with that in mind, we should probably make the bow and just fill in and see what we like. Okay, so now, while the ribbon, the ribbon that came in the box is absolutely gorgeous, I don't think that it'll fit on a smaller scale. Now this red I might just put in a loop of red, the red velvet, and then build the rest of the bow. And I've got both of these from my stash. Now one is a red and white, obviously, with the twirls and things, swirls, and this is a red and white stripe. So I'm thinking maybe that I'll use one loop of the red velvet, okay, and we can take the tail and bring it down through the arrangement, and then I'll make smaller loops with both of these to give the bow more of a filling look. Now, I just have to find my bow maker. It's easier than I thought, actually. Okay, so let's start with this. And you know, the thing with bows, if you don't like how they turn out, or you need to modify them, go ahead. Just take them apart. We're just going to try this, see how it looks. If we like it, I'll make the second bow to go on the other side. All right. So, we do want long tails, so I'm going to figure out that, well, this is probably the length that I would need at the most, okay? So let's put it in to the bow maker. I'm going to twist. Okay, so that the correct side of the ribbon, let me get this in camera for you. Okay, I twisted, and this is the correct side of the ribbon, and this one, when we bring it around, is actually the underside of the ribbon because we're making the loop. Now, I don't think I can make a huge loop, so I'm going to start maybe with a 6.5 inch loop. And remember, I'm only doing one loop with this ribbon. All right. And then that turned out to be about a 6 inch loop. And I'm keeping that in my mind so that I can make the second bow. Okay. And this tail is 8 inches plus. Okay. So it's going to be about 14 inches. That's probably a little too much, but... So, this one, let's line it up here. Out to here is 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is a 12-inch tail. Okay, now let's add the other layers. I'm going to just do 2, let's see. I'll do 3 loops with this ribbon and then 3 loops with the other ribbon. They're going to come in, these loops are going to be more like 5 inches. Okay, because we don't want it to be, well, let's just do 2 loops, one on each side. Okay, and let's do this ribbon the same, 2 loops. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to make a long tail as well, kind of the same as this one, so that we can weave this ribbon through as well. I'm just twisting it. Dovetail this end. Now to dovetail, I'm just pushing the two, folding them in half. Here's the fold on this edge. I'm going to cut from the fold to the point. Okay, that gives you the dovetail. All right. So that's kind of a smallish looking bow, but it will serve its purpose because what we're going to do is we're just looking to fill in something small here. We don't want this to overtake the arrangement. So I'm slipping a zip tie underneath all my ribbons, coming up to the center poles. Okay, giving it a little tension. Then I lift my bow with that. Okay, and I'm keeping my thumb on the top just so that the ribbons don't squirt out before I have a chance to get the zip tie behind. Kind of crank it. Then you'll see that this is a divot or just an area where the bow was sitting between the two pegs. We want the zip tie to go right in that same thing. Before we pull it totally tight, I'm going to get a U-pin. Now U-pins are used to stick things into foam. Let me grab a couple of them. I'll show you real quick. This is a U-pin. Okay, and I'm going to try to see if you can see it better on this ribbon. Does that help at all? It's the shape, it's a pin, sharp edges in the shape of a square U, okay? And I'm just feeding it through the back here, between the ribbon and the zip tie before I completely pull that zip tie tight. As tight as I can get it. And then I'll cut off the zip tie. The tail of the zip tie. And now we'll use that U-pin to put this ribbon into the arrangement. Just moving my other zip ties. Now, before we get too far, I just want to make sure that this is the look that I was hoping for. Okay, I'm just fluffing up all the loops. Okay, so if I stick this in here, using my U-pin, use some room here. Switch these tails. Let's just do it real quick before I push it in. I want the longer tail to come out to the side and the shorter tail to come out to the front. I'm just pulling them. Okay, so there's the shorter tail. Okay, and this is the longer tail. Okay, and that longer tail will trail down. I'll just tuck it in. Let's just go for it and glue it, huh? Let's have some confidence. If it doesn't work out, we can still pull it out. I'm just bringing the glue to the ends of the U-pin. Okay, now I'm just going to push it in into that foam. Okay, just kind of pull those. I'm not pulling too hard yet because I'm still waiting for that glue to dry. Okay, so just give it, just make sure. Now this tail's a little bit too long. I'm just going to cut it down a little bit right now because I don't know what I'm going to add to the sides. But I know it's definitely too long just to stay there. There we go. Now, still may have to cut that, but we'll see. Alrighty. What I thought I'd do with these tails is let's bring this arrangement a little closer to me. what I thought we could do is we could loop this, give it like a little roller coaster from this end, bring it to the middle. Make a roller coaster. I'm just gathering this in. Kind of accordion pleating it. There we go. That's a little bit better job. Okay. Then I thought we could just zip tie it down here. And then have these tails come out along the bottom. Okay. So let's find a place to zip tie it. Get it in here. We'll do this on the reverse side as well. You can see down here is the spine of the two spine of the first sprays we put in. So I'm going to zip tie that all together. We'll hide our zip tie with some additives that we'll put into this wreath or this arrangement. Now these little sprays, I mean this, they call it a balsa, 30-inch balsa swag. However, it's not a teardrop shape. It actually is like a diamond shape. So these are perfect for if you want to use them to make arrangements. There we go. If you want to make arrangements that are elongated arrangements for under your lamps, your lights outside on your porch or your wall. I've decorated some with going up, you know, the balusters on your railings, you know, that newel post of a railing, let's say an inside staircase. You know, you have stairs in your house and you have that pole is the newel post, I call it. Hopefully I'm not aging myself too much. But anyway, the newel post there, this would be a perfect arrangement because it's long and narrow, and you could just put it on each side of your staircase if you want. Okay, so let's get back to this business here. This little tail, we're going to quickly dovetail again and dovetail this big one, the 4-inch here. And just make this one a little bit shorter. I like it to be staggered. Yeah. See how it's slightly staggered on the end? Okay, so well, the only thing that I want to do with this now is just kind of get it underneath, get some greenery on top of it. And this greenery is all wired on this pick, so see how it kind of blends in underneath it? And believe me, we have other things to put in, so we don't need to spend too much time on that. So let's flip this around and do the same thing on the other side. You see how that looks? Okay. Now I can see that the camera is picking up the sheen of this metallic ribbon, but in person it looks really good. Let's flip this around. And you can see we still have a little patch right here that we can put a bow and do the same thing on this end. Okay, so let's quickly do that. We started with the 4-inch on the bottom. We made a long tail. Now my tail is going to come out this way, so I have to remember when I make this tail to put it on this side of the bow. Okay, so go through this bow again. We're going to take and make pretty long tail. I'm measuring it out. Got to give room for the bubble. So let's go here. This turns out, just for everyone's knowledge, 28 inches. Okay, now right here, this mark, I'm just going to scrunch it up, put it in, and twist it. Okay, pull that long tail out to the front. There we go. I'm going to make a 6-inch loop. Let's press down. Okay, there's our 6-inch. I need it just a little bit longer. Scrunch took some, gobbled up some of that ribbon. Okay, now I'm not going to fall for that again, huh? We got to put it like this. Okay, and this one, the top one, is going to come to the front because that's the one that's going to come streaming down this way. We don't need it as long as we did before, so let's not waste the ribbon. I'll cut it here and then dovetail this side. There we go. Okay, we're done with the 4-inch ribbon. Let's move on to our 1.5. We used the scroll ribbon next. We made 5-inch loops. We're going to dovetail it. Okay. All right, we're going to make a 5-inch loop, which is just slightly less than the 6-inch on the red. There we go. I'm going to cut it. And then dovetail this side. Fold it and cut to the outside. There we go. And then our last ribbon is the metallic. And going to dovetail it, fold it in half, cut from the fold to the points, and then put that in. These are also going to be 5 inches long, these loops. There we go. I'm going to get another zip tie and a U-pin. There we go. Ribbons are done. Get my zip tie. I'm going underneath all the tails and loops, zipping up the middle, letting it do the work. Okay. And I just keep my finger on it until I can get it pretty tight. Move that zip tie into that gully made by the 2 pegs. Now, get my U-pin, thread it through, and then tighten this up. Okay. Wasn't hard at all. When you make a bowl, the only thing you really have to concentrate on is making that twist. Well, you can see what mistake I made. I needed a long tail here. Not a problem. It's all we have to do. Make this tail. There we go. Okay, I can put the bow in first. Just fluffing them, pulling them. Okay. There we go. Okay, let's stick it down here in the foam. Let's bring the arrangement closer. How do you find leverage? So I can push this in. There we go. We know this one is going to go down. fluff these. Pull this tail out a little bit. Okay. Now I'm just going to take another U-pin. Scrunch this up. Get a zip tie. Okay, just to give you something to attach this to. I'm just putting the zip tie around the U-pin just like I did before with the actual bow. Okay. Dip it in the glue. We're going to just stick it down here. Again, just hold the thing for leverage as you try to get a foothold in there. There we go. Okay, we just have to play around a little bit with it so it'll look fine. Okay, so let's just take one more. We took it underneath. Now it's not imperative that they're equal, but you do kind of want them to be as close as possible to the, and the last one the one on the other side is I tied it to this point right here. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to just kind of scrunch up this point. Okay. Smooth out the bow, the ribbons, so that they lay nicely in your, and I'm going to get the zip tie. And zip it right to those stems. There we go. I'll tell you what, I'm on the hunt for good wire clippers. I have probably invested half of my income from my business trying to find wire cutters that are easy to use, and I have yet to find that. If anybody can recommend a brand to me, I would love it. Okay. I'd say the hard part is done now. Let's just trim these up. Just dovetailing both ends. And we are ready to stuff this baby full. We're going to start with the greenery that came in the box. So one thing about this cabana stripe, the white stripe is painted on, and it makes it difficult to fold, but just take your time. It'll work out fine. Okay, so there we have it. Okay, both sides have a ribbon that trail off. All right, now I need to get some, I'm going to use this bush here that came with the box. Just going to cut it up into, let me get this pin out of the way. It's for this ribbon here. Okay, now I'm going to cut this up. It's not a pusher, but you can see we'll have some long, and then we can cut them in half and fill in on the side. So we'll take these long ones first. Okay. And all we're trying to do is we're going to glue into the base. Okay. going to place them in 3. This one, we're just going to cut off a little bit of it. So we have 2 pieces, all right? And I'll do the same with this one. This is the long one. We'll make these 2 shorter. Okay, that'll give us some things to fill in on the sides, okay? So let's do this quickly. Okay, just going to get this all set up real quick. And I'll come right back. Okay, sorry for that interruption. My phone was ringing and my husband is sick, so I just wanted to make sure he didn't need something from me. Okay, now all I'm doing is I'm just dipping my greenery ends into my glue pot, which I don't think you can see on camera, and I'm just sprinkling this deeper green color around. Now I have 2 of these stems, so I'm going to use 1 stem on this half of the arrangement, then I'll use the other half on the other half, the other stem on the other half of the arrangement. So I'm just sticking this down into my bow, just to give it a little bit camouflage. I have these 2 pieces left, and all I did was just cut these pieces from the original stem. I cut the stem into the 3 pieces it came with and then just kind of bisected it. Now you can see on this side, we're going to need both of these stems to give it, I'm going to put one there and one, maybe one there, just to give it a little bit of sprinkling. We have other colors, other things we're going to stick in there, so it's not the finishing point. Okay, so let's see how it all, that little bit of different texture, it's great, adds a lot of dimension to that. Okay, now let's cut up that other one. I'll show it to you again. It comes in 3 stems. Okay, I cut off each stem, do the 3 stems. I'm going to cut off each stem. Like I said, these wire clippers are not. Okay, save that. All right, now we're going to take the longest one. We're going to feed it in through so that comes out alongside this. Dip it in the glue. Some people just use glue guns. I like to use a glue pot when I'm doing this type of work. Makes it go a lot faster. Okay, now I'm going to cut these 2. There's a break along the back of the stem. You can see where they break. I'm just cutting them so that I have 2 littler pieces and then 2 bigger pieces. Okay. Okay, so this piece here, like it down here, give it some okay. And we'll put a medium-sized one down here. Let's go underneath a little bit. Okay. Okay, we're going to flip it around. Get my glue strings off. Flip it around. And now we're doing it over on this edge. This is the back half of this one. We need to put one kind of, let's get this leaf. Okay, I'm going to put it here to elongate it a little bit. And then I'll put this one here. There we go. Okay. So we have those down. Now, those berries are going to come in a little bit. But what I have over here in my stash, you'll hear some rattling. But I have this greenery here. And it gives it, this is just a slightly frosted greenery. It's actually called, it's called Made in China. This, I believe, I'm thinking it's an olive leaf. Cypress and olive leaf. I'm almost positive that that's what it's called. But anyway, let's cut this off and let's see how we can sprinkle these through the arrangement. I think we need something in here. Just a little something. We don't need a big clump of this. And you can see that this too can be separated into a couple of different pieces. Right here, there's kind of a break in the stem. Okay, so let's separate it. Both resulting stems will have the olive leaf as well as the cypress. Okay, so it's a little we're making individual sprays. Okay, so let's do a couple of them. Let's do 3 branches, which will give us 6 pieces. And we'll start with that and see if we need anything more. This was a slightly longer one, but we want this leaf down here in, there we go. See the break there? Okay, so we have that leaf in both sections. They almost look exactly the same. We'll do one more. We may end up using the whole bush, but as of now, we just want to start with these. I haven't forgotten that we need to put in our glittered stem from the original that we cut off. I won't forget that, because they're right there on the side, kind of staring at me, begging me to get back into the arrangement. Okay, so now we have 6 pieces, and let's just see how far we can get with just those 6 pieces, all right? Now I'm not going to glue these in until I'm happy with where I put them. So I'm just going to place them for now and just see what they look like. Okay, we don't want to cover up everything in our, I'm just trying to give it some. I'm going to do 3 on this side, then I'll turn it around and do 3 on the other side. Okay. So, it just gives it a little bit of dimension, having the frosted and the different shaped leaves. And all we're doing is just finding places to sprinkle it. I think we're gonna need to do one more stem because I don't like this dark green collection there. So I'm gonna put it there as well. So we'll do 4. How many more stems do we have? We have 2 more stems on there, and we have, okay, let's see what this gives us here. Just feel like we need, tilt this one to that side. I feel like we need one right here though. And that meant I used 6, so I'll need 1. See if I can get around this. Cut up the other one real quick and see what we have. Last thing you want to do is glue these in and then find out your spacing is just a little off. Like, for instance, like this one here, interestingly enough, it only has 1 set of those leaves. Actually, it has 2, but am I going to be able, oh yes, I can. All right, there was enough space to cut them. There we go. Phew, I thought there was only 1 set, but now we have 2 sets. And both of them have those leaves on it. Okay, let's do the same for this one, and then we'll spread them out on the other side. All right. Okay, so basically we have 4 more to do the other side. Now this one is technically on the other side. This one I'm going to move up a bit, like that, to space these out. This one will go in here. See, it's all kind of trial and error. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this side. We'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the other side. Perfect. Okay. So let's glue these in because we like these placements. The only one that I might change up is this one. Just put it up a little bit higher in this area. Let's see if I can get it in there without... Yeah, there we go. Okay, so let's glue. Just dip them in. Kind of keep your finger where you pulled them out of. There we go. Just going to make sure that your hot glue hits the original base of our of this arrangement was that evergreen base. Okay, so when I'm putting my stems in, you'll see I'm getting the glue to hit those the evergreen the ties down there, the evergreen branches that we started this whole arrangement on. That glue just sucks right into that. As long as you're touching it, it will stay. Now, see, on this one, I'm lifting it up. I'm going to dip it in the glue, and I'm going to put it all the way, tuck it in, to make sure that I'm getting those pine branches that we started this whole arrangement on. Okay, now let's just flip this around and do the other side. This is just too big to put on my... I do have a Lazy Susan that would be perfect, but this is just too big for it. Okay, that little branch came off. Okay, so now we have to just spread out these. We started with this one. I've glued it in. Did I glue it in? No, I did not glue it in, but this is the first one on this side. You just have to find that. There it is. Find those branches underneath all the stuff. Just tuck it in and make sure the glue hits it. There we go. Okay, now let's just quickly spread these out. This is a smaller one. I can see it's probably going to be best here. I need one here. A little bit longer would be great to stick it in. Just weave these other pieces through it so we're not losing all of this, the beautiful stuff that we put in already. There we go. Okay. This one just twist a little. And we have two. We have one here and one here. One. Usually I'm a little quicker to decide on where I want it to go. So I have an opening there though, so let's do this. Let's stick this one in here, fill in that opening. I'm going to pull this one back a little further into this area. There we go. Now it's taken shape. And then this one can go at the end. Alright, so I'll glue this one first. I see the pine branches right underneath this ribbon. Just lifting it up, sticking it in there. There we go. That one's in. Let's do this one real quick. Be generous with your glue. It'll pay off in the end. Ooh, got glitter on everything. This is like it's like sand. It's almost like sand from the beach. It's so fine. I'm going to cut this down a bit. Don't need it that long. There we go. Know exactly where it's going. Tuck it in and maneuver everything. So there we have. Okay. So I have just a few more little goodies that I wanted to put in. So that all just came from my stash. I thought what we could do is just leave 3 stems here of this twisted wire, glittered rope. And I thought that would just add a little bit of a something different. Okay, let's cut these off. I'm going to cut them as long as I can, just so that I have 2 of those. Okay. I think once we do this, add these in our last sprinkly, the glittered now it's going to put 3 on each side like I have been doing. Okay. I think actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to get 2 of different lengths and push them in there. Give us a little bit of height and drama in the center. How's that? And we have that styrofoam, so I can push that right into the styrofoam. So I'm going to stand up here quickly and just get my bearings. Glue one in. Be careful not to hit any of them. There we go. This one I just want a little bit shorter. So we don't want them to look like antennae coming out of here. We just need it to have a little bit of a... There we go. Okay, so let's glue this one in on the top. Okay, glue this one over here. can cut off a little bit more of this one too. Okay, we need one on this side. Coming out a little straighter. We'll just cut it off a bit here. And tuck it in there. Okay, let's do the other side real quick. Okay, we have one. We just need that one coming out straight. There we go. Just cut it down a bit. There we go. Boy, that brightens it up quite a bit. Okay. Our last thing to do is to plug these little guys in. Okay. We want them to come out on the sides of this to fill in the... We don't have any red glitter here. These are two. So put one over here. There we go. Take off all of the... And our last, put the glitter on, the red glitter on this side. One here. We probably need one right here too. Lift up the bow and stick it there, huh? Okay. So now I didn't use everything in that box. I didn't use the sign. I didn't use the ribbon. That doesn't mean that I won't put it to good use in other projects. And I didn't use the big red berries, which I thought I was, but I think with the addition of this juniper and olive leaf branch, it filled in a lot of the spaces that I was thinking we would have needed those berries. So anyway, here is our final project. This has all been inspired with the addition of some things from my stash. Yeah, centerpiece from the July box from Trendy. So I really appreciate you spending the time this afternoon with me as I made this. I hope that if you've gotten the Trendy box, that you've opened it up and seen all the goodies and felt inspired as well. There's certainly a lot of possibilities with what they've given us in the box. So thank you very much and have a great day.